All right.
This is the first one that I've done back since for like 6 months, so I am unbelievably nervous, which is very strange. So
Don't be nervous. It's just me.
it's a thing. Oh God, it's just you. Welcome to this week's episode of So It's Not Just Me. I'm your host, Joanna, and today I am super excited. I recently got in contact with somebody that I've known for, I think we've just said 6 or 7 years now. I've not actually spoken for a few of those due to one thing or another, but I saw this person talking about mental health and talking about some incredible things that he's doing. And I wanted to jump at the chance of getting him here and having a chat. So, with that, I would like to introduce my guest, Dom. Do
Hello.
you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Dom. I guess just describe myself as mental health advocate. Really, I try to find the positive sides of it and try and let people know that it's okay and we all can suffer. And I guess that's the point of my socials and what I do outside of social media as well, just to try and let people know it's all right and there's people there who will listen. So that's
I think
me,
that's the
basically.
scariest thing for men as well. Yeah, the
Yes.
scariest thing. Men don't think that they can talk. And if they do think they can talk, they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
That's the
100%.
the thing that I was finding. So kind of can you kind of take us back to what first made you think I need to do something either for yourself or for others?
To be fair, my mental health journey actually wasn't started by myself. It was a
Okay.
friend. I was one of those men who didn't talk. I just um, suffered in silence and unfortunately took it out on the wrong people sometimes. Um, and I just didn't know where to turn or what to do. I was having nightmares about things, and um, my wife said to me, she's like, you need to speak to somebody. So I rang the doctors, got an appointment with a mental health nurse, um, got a prescription, so I'm on medication to sort that out. But it didn't work in terms of just helping me. There were still issues. There was still stuff that I was struggling with, and I've never been shy about feeling low necessarily amongst friends and stuff. As much as I didn't really want to talk about it, but um, one of my friends messaged me one day and said, "Look, I've started going to this group called Andy's Man Club. I think you should come." And me being me was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll come, no problem." Just try and brush it off, not really expecting anything to happen. But again, my wife was like, "I think you need to go to that group and see what it's about." So I did, and I think I cried a lot in that first session, and it's such a strange feeling. You feel like the weight of the world's been lifted once you start talking about how you're feeling and what's been going on in your life. So
Yeah.
yeah, a bit surreal, but it felt needed. I just felt welcomed at that
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
So
And I think
it's great.
that's the most important thing as well. It's like finding a space where it's okay to cry. It's
Yeah,
a natural reaction to anything and everything.
yeah.
It's so natural, and men are not told, but like it's not common for men to feel comfortable letting those emotions out. You're meant
We're
to be
not
big,
allowed to be
strong men.
emotional. Yeah, we're not allowed to
Yes.
be emotional. It's I mean, very well. I'm a big, strong man.
Yes.
To look at me, but I'm actually probably one of the most emotional people you could meet. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I get emotional about loads of stuff, and I cry at movies and TV and songs sometimes. I see a picture of my son and it makes me cry because I remember it and stuff. Such an emotional person, but there's still that stigma around men where you got to be a man and you
Yeah.
can't have emotions and do all that, which is awful.
Was you were you taught as like a kid a certain way men should behave?
I didn't hear that question. You cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
Was was you kind of taught a certain way that men should behave?
um, I wouldn't
Like when you
necessarily.
was younger,
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I was taught. I grew up in there, so my parents split up when I was 3,
right?
um, and they moved. They moved on. They married other people, and I was living with my mum predominantly. There was no custody battle or anything. We split time between both parents. It was very amicable and stuff. But um, my mum's husband um, was was a violent man once he's had a drink,
Right.
and that tended to be that was what I grew up with, assuming that's what how men are. Um,
Right.
because as much as I saw my dad for a couple of days every other weekend. The predominant male figure in my life was my stepfather, who, once he'd had a bit of alcohol, decided that it was okay to be abusive and get angry. And, we suffered verbal abuse as kids, and it was awful. It was awful. And it was,
Yeah.
you just get belittled and told you'll never amount to anything. You're not worth anything. Stop crying, you cry baby. Stuff like that. Men don't cry.
Yeah.
So that was the example that I had of being a man in the main house that I was living. But then I'd go to my dad's, and my dad was a worker. He worked constantly. He's never had a day off work. He works, provides, and stuff. So I had two complete opposite ends of the scale
Yeah.
of how a man should behave, I guess.
Was it confusing having one parent kind of have one effect and one be the complete opposite?
I mean, I'm not sure if it's
Okay.
necessarily confusing, because that was just normal.
Right.
That's what I knew, I guess.
Yeah.
For my child, my mum was with my stepfather for 8 years. Um, so from the age of 3, 4 till 11, 12, it was that was the that was what we knew. So it was the norm, if that makes
Right.
sense. So we
Yeah.
didn't.
No, it
It
does.
wasn't something that I discussed at school or with friends or anything like that, because it was didn't know any other way for it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Um. Why do you think that? No, I don't like that question. Why do you think that men and women have such a different experience with mental health?
I think women by nature are nurturers, um, caring. They, if you go back to the old gender stereotypes, women were homemakers, they were mothers, they looked after the people of their lives, and the men were providers. And I think it's just, even in today's society, as much as everybody's equal, you still kind of fall into that traditional stereotype almost. Um, and women do tend to feel more comfortable to share, and they tend probably to have more friends that they feel comfortable talking to,
Yeah.
female friends and stuff. Whereas lads tend to, if you got that lad culture, um, drinking, football, rugby, that all that stuff that's traditional for blokes, um, it's not something you would discuss in those kind of environments. That you're having a tough time, you're having a bad time, you don't really know
Yeah.
what you're thinking or how you're feeling.
Yeah. Men's mental health is it's not discussed enough for a start. It 100% is not discussed enough. And I don't feel like there's enough acknowledgement when you do discuss it.
Correct.
You know,
I
there's
would
not
agree.
enough praise. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, it's hard for anyone to discuss mental health, men, women, whatever. It's
yeah,
really, really hard. But women are praised for, oh, well done, you've took your first steps. A man goes to an equivalent of Andy's Man Club and gets oh,
Hmm.
what are you going there for?
Yeah,
You know,
100%. And that's what happened to me. I told a couple of people at work that I was suffering, and I'd started going to Andy's Man Club. And they were like, "What are you doing that for? You're not depressed. There's nothing wrong with you." Because I'm Mr. Happy, I'm Mr. Positive. I walk around work and I'm singing and whatnot. I think people assume that depression is sitting in a chair, rocking in a corner,
yeah,
um, and that's not the case. You can function with depression. You can function with anxiety. It just looks a little different. If I'm having a good day, I'm having a good day. If I'm having a bad day, then it's a bit of a different story. I'll have days where I wake up and I do not want to get out of bed um,
yeah,
and face the world because I just can't bear it. But then I look at my wife, I look at my son, and I think I've got to go for them. You know, so I push myself more, but I guess I'm more comfortable with it all now. If
yeah,
it's because I've got that outlet every Monday night to talk to people who resonate and understand how you're feeling,
yeah,
um, it makes life a bit easier.
yeah. I think as well that, um, especially men, and I do think that I'm somebody who does this as well. We become great actors
Uh-huh.
because we're so good at covering up when we are having a bad day because we're meant to be these strong people.
Yeah,
And I feel like men are so good at the acting part of being strong and fine and
yeah,
getting on with things. When they're not, they're just acting and putting on a mask.
yeah. I say to my wife and to friends all the time, I'm the world's best actor
Yeah,
because if I don't want you to know I'm having a bad day, you won't know I'm having a bad day,
yeah,
and then I internalize that, but that's not healthy. That's the point. It's not healthy to just bottle it up and not talk about your feelings and what's going on in your world. And it's something I say to people quite often is just because you might think it's not important to me doesn't mean it's not important to you. So if
yeah,
you need to talk about it, talk about it. That's what I'm here for. That's why I do what I do. And I love doing what I do because knowing that sitting and listening to that one person could make a difference to their life
yes,
makes a massive difference to my own.
yeah. That's what I say about the podcast all the time as well. Even if one person listens,
Yeah.
I don't do this for the ratings, I don't do it for anything else. If that one person listens and thinks, do you know what? I'm going through the same thing. You've given
Hmm.
me an outlet to find help, then
Yeah.
I've done my job.
Yeah.
I don't do it for any other reason other than for that one person who thinks they're on their own. And
Yeah. It's
yeah,
hard when you and this I come from a massive family. I've got 6 siblings. I've got my mum and dad, um, my wife now, and extended family on my wife's side as well. All these people that I could talk to if I felt the need, and I know they would listen. But
yeah,
I've also, when I was at my worst, I'd never felt so alone in my life, and I had all these people around, but I didn't feel like I had anybody around
yeah,
because I didn't want to be a burden on them.
yeah,
My issues didn't need to be their issues. My issues were my issues, and I was going to deal with that. Again, which is completely the wrong way to think. These are people that love you. These are people that care about you, um, and they are absolutely going to sit and listen if you need to chat. And it took me a while to get that in my head. I'd go to family functions and be completely uncomfortable in a room of people that I love because I felt like I didn't belong.
right, right.
How weird is that?
It's hard to get your mind around.
It's yeah. It's just the
But
mind, how the mind works, I guess.
But at the same time, you touched on it
Sometimes,
there. You know, you don't want to talk to these people because you don't want to burden their lives, and
yeah,
that's the mindset that we have to get out of. It's not a burden for people.
no,
If they can't listen to you or they can't help you, they'll tell you. You
yeah,
know, that's the big thing as well. I've had people talk to me, and I've been lowest of the low. What like after we lost the baby and things, and
Yeah,
I couldn't talk to people, and I said to them, look, it's not that I don't care, and it's not
hmm
that I don't want to be your support, but I can't do that right now.
yeah,
And I think this kind of goes on really nicely to talk about a little of Dom talks.
yeah. Okay.
So
Uh, well, sorry, I cut you off.
no, I was just going to say, what is Dom talks, and what inspired you to start it?
Um, Dom Talks is, as I put on my bio when I literally have on my first video, is my word vomit page. That's how I describe. Um, it came out of the blue. I was walking home from work because I cycle to work, but my bike was broken, being repaired. So I was walking home, and I just had all this stuff in my head that I needed to get out. And the only way I could think to do it at that point in time was to record myself on my phone.
Right?
So, and I must have looked like a lunatic walking through through the street, people passing me and stuff, and just talking into my phone. But I just recorded this 10-minute video of me talking about life and how hard it can be, not just as a man, just in general. And, we get so caught up in life and everything we're doing, and we're trying to be the best that we can be, and everything, but we've lost the art of communication
Yes.
because we're all addicted to our phones, and it's just, I think that's just life now. We live in a digital age, and we sit on our phones, I'll be at work all day, I'll come home and I'll be dad, and we'll have our tea, and then I'll give him his bath, put him to bed, and then we come downstairs, and we're that tired from the day, you sit on the sofa, not really acknowledging each other on your phones, and you've lost the art of communication. Or you go
Yeah.
out for a meal and you see couples out having a meal together and they're both on their phone.
Yeah.
And it just gets me here, like how does that work? How can you function like that? You've gone out for a meal together and you both sat on your phones, not even talking to each other. What's that
It
about?
makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
It it angers me sometimes. It's like I don't understand. I think language is beautiful. You can convey much more by speaking to somebody than you can via text
Yeah.
or social media. And it's the irony is not lost on me that I'm not an advocate for social media, but I use social media to try and be helpful to people because that's the medium that they use.
Yes.
It's not how I would like to do it,
Yes.
but it's the easiest way to reach people and for people to help out. So I posted that first video on Facebook on a Friday night, um, just to get it out there. And I had no intention of it being anything at
Right.
all. And then I woke up Saturday morning, it had 1,200 views.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was a bit like, what? And Facebook had sent me a notification. We've changed your page to be a content creator. I was like, what are you on about? I'm not a content creator. I don't do content, just put a video on what's going on. And then I was getting messages from people that didn't know who had watched the video and saying that, thank you for sharing how you're feeling, what you're doing, and whatnot. And it was just like, okay, what do I do?
Right.
Because my private Facebook is my private Facebook. I'd rather not put stuff on there if it's going to get viewed quite a lot. So I just created the Dom Talks page, and then just started adding more to that, and it's garnered more followers and whatnot. And then it spilled over to Instagram and TikTok and that, and I just record myself saying stuff about mental health and get comments back. It's just I just want people to know it's okay
Yeah.
to talk, to feel how you're feeling. It's okay, perfectly all right. And the power of talking, communication. Talking saved my life.
Yeah.
That's the how real I will be with people. Being able to talk and get things off my chest stopped me from doing something that I probably shouldn't have. I shouldn't have done. And
Yeah.
people feel like that. And if you look at the statistics around men, where you know, taking their own life can be how they see the way out. It's quite scary.
Yeah.
And I just think, because I know how I felt when I was at my lowest, I want other people to know that it's all right to be in that place, but you can come out of it. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Um, and I'm hoping that it just provides, if it helps one person, that's all that matters. I'm not trying to do it for monetary gains or famous or anything. I just want people to know there are services out there that can help them if they need it, men and women. Honestly,
Yeah,
for anybody.
and I think it's important to know that, exactly like the podcast says, you are not alone. It's not just you.
No,
Because when you're
exactly.
in that dark place, you think that nobody else cares, nobody else has ever felt like you felt. You feel like the only thing you can do is go drive off that bridge, and it's not
Yeah,
the answer to things,
no.
but it feels like it.
Yeah, and I think the worst part about that is people's mindset about if somebody's taken their own life, people think they're selfish, and it's not a selfish thing to do. It's
Yeah.
not a selfish thing to do, in my opinion. It's the hardest thing to do. I can't, cannot imagine anybody saying that it's a selfish thing to do. If you are willing to do that, you are at your last resort. You don't know any way else to help yourself, and you're not thinking about family or anybody else at that point. You are just at that point where you go, do you know what? I just can't do it
Yeah.
anymore. Um, and it's an awful place to be. But I
I
can't
think
deal with
that
the people who deem it selfish.
no, I don't think it's selfish at all. I really don't. I think that when you said they're not thinking about family, I think they are, but in the wrong perspective.
Yeah, I could agree with you there. Yeah,
I
so,
think that they're thinking that the only way to make their family happy is if they're not there anymore, being a burden. They're not a
yeah,
burden, but
yeah,
that's the only way that they're thinking of their family in a positive light, is I'm not here anymore. They can get on with their lives.
yeah. And I can definitely see that point of view. You know,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine how hard it must be in that situation. Again, which is why I say I would. Oh my god, if I don't know who you are, but you see my page and you need somebody to talk to, just message me,
Yeah.
and I will respond. Like, if you're in a place or you need somebody to comfort you, I'll be that person. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
I would rather know that I've stopped somebody doing something than not,
Yeah.
when I could have prevented it. It would be,
Oh, 100%.
it scares me. I live down where I live. There's a few bridges, and there's been a couple of times where it's happened, and it's just like it scares the life out of me. It really,
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah. I've never got to that point. I have had massive depression, I've had massive
Yeah,
anxiety, but I've never been at that point, and
yeah,
thinking about ever getting to that point scares me.
yeah.
Um, but when you get to that point, there's sometimes you can't get out of it. You just can't.
You can't.
No.
Just
One
just
thing
unfortunate. Go on.
one thing
Sorry.
that I it's okay. One thing that I do really like, that I'm not a big celebrity person. I used to be back in the day. I'm not a big celebrity
Hmm.
person now. But I'm really, really grateful for some of the movies and the celebrities that have started coming out talking about mental health more.
Yeah.
Um, a big thing that I like was in the Avengers movie, where all the men are sat around having a chat about the snap. Half the world's
Yes.
disappeared, and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the men are there comfortable talking about the situation and how
Yeah.
it's affected their mental health.
Yeah.
Um, People like Tyson Fury, whether
Hmm.
you love him or hate him, he will openly discuss his mental health with you, and
Yeah.
what he's going through, what he's not going through, how difficult it is. It is. No, he's
Yeah.
a boxer. He's not
Hmm.
meant to be a
Yeah.
stereotypical, softy in the corner.
No.
But that kind of thing is really coming out more, and I think that's a great thing for men as well. to see
Yeah,
that it's okay.
yeah, and I think you need celebrity for it to become a discussable topic. You need people who are in the forefront of
Yes.
society who get seen a lot to discuss it.
Yes.
Um, so people like Tyson Fury, who are in the spotlight a lot, he's got his reality show. He's obviously world famous boxer. Everybody knows who Tyson Fury is. For him to be able to come out and openly admit that he's suffered with his mental health is massive for men. I'm not openly a boxing fan, but to see somebody like that, who's
Yeah.
your stereotypical bloke, come out and say, "Do you know what? I've suffered and I've been lonely and I've wanted to end my own life." It's mind blowing to everyone else because it shows that those feelings, depression, anxiety, they don't single out anybody. It doesn't
No.
matter what your career is, how much money you've got, anything like that. It can affect somebody who's mega rich as much as it can affect somebody who's mega poor.
Yeah.
And you would assume that celebrities are happy all the time, but it's obviously not the case.
No. No. What I will say, obviously, um, you're not a big boxing fan. I'm
No.
just a sports girly, full stop.
Yeah.
Over here, especially, and I'm sure they do the same in the UK. Well, I know they do because obviously, duh. Um, but I've noticed a lot more over the last couple of years. The football here, American
Hmm.
football, the baseball, the basketball. They do a lot, especially during May when it is mental health awareness. They have big events and things, and I think
Yeah.
that's important as well, um, to promote to young kids, if nothing
Yeah.
else.
And
So
it's
that's
the younger generation coming through now probably need to know and understand it a bit more. With they are in a purely digital world,
yeah,
it's easier for them
yeah,
to get caught up in all this social media celebrity, keeping up with the Joneses, posting their perfect life and everything like that. And it's depressing trying to do all of that.
yes, yeah,
So I think it's really important that we educate them about the importance of how you're feeling and emotions. Um, and it's something I try to do with my son, and say to him, it's okay to be upset. It's
yeah,
okay to cry. Um, and as he's at school and he's learning, I'm over the moon with how he picks stuff up, and he's not afraid to say what's wrong, why he's upset, and go from there. So,
yeah. Do you mind me asking how old he is?
say again, sorry.
Sorry, do you mind me asking how old he is?
My son is 4. He'll be
Oh,
5
okay.
in July. So
That's
he's
a
just started
really good
school.
age. Yeah,
Really good
that's a
age.
really good age. Yeah.
Where I used an episode of Hey Doggy, just a cartoon, um, over here, where they were talking about emotions and they were using different kinds of faces to explain different kinds of emotions. And a sad face come up, and I used that to explain to him that that's sometimes how Daddy feels,
Right.
because he picks up on it when I'm not necessarily in a good mood. And it just gave him that bit of a better understanding about how I can be sometimes,
Yeah.
not intentionally, but yeah, that's the joys of
I
depression, I guess.
Do you know what? I absolutely love that cartoons and kids shows nowadays do these kind of episodes. Like you hear about it all the time from like Bluey is
Ah,
always on the top of the list for
yeah,
the helpful episodes.
yeah,
Um I want to move on a little bit and
yep,
talk about Andy's Man Club.
yep.
I have wanted to get somebody from Andy's Man Club on here for so long,
Okay.
but I've never I've never felt like I can reach out to them, and I don't know
Hmm.
why. It's just one of those things. Maybe because it is for men, and I felt as a woman I shouldn't be stepping on toes. You've got your men's thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I don't think you would step on anybody's toes, to be honest.
no, I think I think that's psychological. How
Yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of I want it to be for the men, and I don't want to come and interfere, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but what do you think makes Andy's Man Club different or stand out from other support services?
I think because it's a peer-to-peer support group, it makes a difference to the people. You're not going and speaking to a professional who's
Right.
necessarily studied all the textbooks and knows the textbooks answers, but probably doesn't have the life experience. I am yet to go into an Andy's Man Club session and hear somebody talk about what they're going through and then not be another person in the room who's at least experienced it once in their life and can initiate that conversation with a person.
Right.
Um, we're not offering advice to people or anything like that. We're there till we sit, we listen, and we understand what they're going through. And it just ignites this natural conversation between a group of lads over a cup of tea and a biscuit. um, and
Everyone loves a cup of tea and a biscuit.
I think then because you've found somebody who's gone through or going through the same as you, you then form this bond. So every Monday when it comes back round, you have that conversation. Just naturally flows. How's your week been? What you been up to? How's it gone? Have you had any of these issues this week? And I think because it's just normal blokes talking to normal blokes. We're not wearing shirts and ties. We're not sat in a room with a couch out for you to lay on or anything like that. It's just other blokes helping other blokes to just try and talk about how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And we understand there's no answer. We're not trying to cure what you're feeling. We're just trying to help you understand where you're at and how you can kind of cope with it, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. We went to therapy after we lost the baby, and
Yeah.
one of the things that we didn't like was because we went together and we went on our own, and one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that we didn't like was it felt like it was being psychoanalyzed
Yeah.
and then put in a box.
Uh-huh.
Because it's exactly like you said, it's not peer to peer. It's a professional who is going down a checklist.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not somebody who's experienced what you're going through, or even
Yeah,
remotely.
exactly.
And I
And
think,
when I did my therapy, I had 10-week sessions, and as lovely as my therapist was, it was a case of I was being given the textbook answers, the textbook
yeah,
exercises to try and help, etc., etc. And I didn't really feel heard,
yes,
if that makes sense. Whereas I'd go
yes,
to an Andy's Man Club session, and I knew I was being listened to, and I was being understood, and I was getting proper feedback from that conversation. It wasn't because they were being paid to give me that answer. It's because they genuinely wanted to listen.
yeah,
And that's not me trying to be negative about therapy. I think therapy is great. If it helps you, it's fantastic. But it's not for everybody.
no,
And
it's
it'd be the
definitely
same
not.
with Andy's Man Club. Andy's Man Club is not going to be for everybody. But there are different services there to help everybody. And that's the one that works for me. And it works for a lot of other blokes as well.
Yeah, I think as well, if you're going somewhere where people have experienced some level of similarity to what you're going through, they're going to have suggestions, and they may have tried something that helps that you didn't, or vice versa, and
That's it.
that kind of obviously again it builds that bond and it builds that that part inside of you to know that you're not on your own, you're not being silly
Yeah.
going to these clubs. It is important and it is valuable.
Yeah. 100%.
So how long have you been going to Andy's Man Club?
I've been going to Andy's Man Club for 18 months.
Okay.
Um, and it's completely changed my life, my outlook on life, and how I view the world. And it's strange. I said since day one attending there, in my head, a group of blokes who suffer with their mental health helping other blokes who suffer with their mental health should not work,
No,
but it
but
does.
it does. Yeah.
And there's a lot of us who can testify to the fact that it does work. And I think the reason, obviously, it does work is because you genuinely want the best for that bloke that you're talking to. whether whenever he only comes 1 week, 12 weeks, 3 years, however long he's coming for, you genuinely want the best for that person while ever you are speaking to them. And it's
Do you?
great. It's nice to feel heard.
Yeah. Do you think that going to something like Andy's Man Club then gives you a purpose when you're helping other people?
Yeah, 100%. It's a strange feeling. I didn't go into Andy's Man Club expecting to do anything other than sit, maybe talk a little bit. And now it's consumed my life almost. I'm just this person who wants to help.
Yes.
And like I say, yeah, obviously in my capacity at Andy's Man Club, it's men, but I want to help women as well.
Yeah.
Anybody who's struggling and needs to talk. I've got a real passion for it, a drive to do that.
Well, let's go on from that. So you was there for a year, and then they asked you to be a facilitator. Is that right? Is that the
A
right word?
facilitator, yeah,
Yeah. So
correct
what
word.
does that involve? What does that mean?
So facilitators, we are volunteers. So we run the sessions. We're responsible for the meetings,
Okay.
safeguarding, make sure everyone's all right, got biscuits, um, talk to the lads. We can be there for one-on-one if they need a bit of if they feel a bit overwhelmed and they have to leave the group. We'll go out and we'll check that they're all right and have a chat if they need to. But we're there to be the focal point for the session. It's a 2-hour session,
Okay.
and you could have a room full of 20, 30 blokes, and it's our job to keep the session going, make sure that everybody gets an adequate amount of time to talk. But we're also there for people after a session if they didn't need to feel like they got the time to talk. We'll stand and we'll talk to them for a bit longer and go from there. We're not professionals. We're not trained in psychology or anything like that. Every facilitator at Andy's Man Club has been a user first. So you
Right.
cannot be a facilitator without having been attending sessions. We're not employed. We are literally volunteers who've been asked to step up and try and help a bit more.
And from there, you've also now got your own branch. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, I have got my own branch.
Check
Um,
you out.
I know and I think that's it's a massive thing for me that it shows me how far I've come from day one walking into the group in Chesterfield to a year later becoming a facilitator, and then 6 months after that getting a phone call out of the blue saying we're opening a branch in Bolsover. Your name's been put forward to run it. Would you like to do it? And I'm not going to lie, it took me a couple of days to decide because it's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
I'm the world's worst overthinker. And as proud as I was of being asked to do that, also then in my head is like, oh, what if I let people down? What if
Yeah.
I don't do well enough as a lead? But speaking to those closest to me, my wife, people I work with, friends, and speaking to them about how they thought I would handle it, I said yes, and we opened at the first Monday, not the first Monday, sorry, the second Monday in May, because the first Monday in May was a bank holiday.
Right.
So
Yep. Yes, it was.
we've had 3 sessions, and it's great. It's lovely to see the group, and then as a lead, I get to appoint my own team of facilitators as well. So that's a nice feeling as well, and it's
Yeah.
just I am then that focal point for that group, which is actually a nice feeling as well. As scary as it is, it's nice to be looked upon as somebody who can be there for everyone else.
Did it ever having your own mental health struggles anyway? taking on that extra responsibility, did you ever worry that that might affect your path, your mental health journey to like improve yourself?
I didn't.
Okay.
Some people
Did
close
you
to me did.
did your wife?
Yeah, questioned it. She says, she's like, I'm so proud of you for being asked. And I think you'll be great at it. But I do worry about how being the guy, being responsible, could affect your mental health journey.
Yes.
And I understood completely where she's coming from because I've worked hard to get to where I am now. Where I mean, I'm not cured by any means, and there's not a cure for it. But to get to a place where I'm comfortable being me and knowing it's okay to have a bad day and I can talk about how I'm feeling or what's going on in my head, is a massive thing to then have this responsibility put on you. Again, voluntary.
Yeah.
Uh, I understood completely where she's coming from, but it was one of those opportunities that may never come round again. I didn't really feel like I could say no because I'm that passionate about the group and what we're trying to achieve. Just to be asked to be a facilitator gives me immense pride. To then be asked to to run my own branch, that's even more pride. I know it
Yeah.
might sound very self-serving, but it's something I'm very, very proud to do. Is to be that guy. And I just said, you know what? If I don't try, I'll never know, and I might regret not saying yes. But I always know, if I'm having a bad day and I don't want to go to my group as a facilitator, I can go to Chesterfield where I've been for the last 18 months for one night and be a user
Yeah.
and actually use the group rather than be the group, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. And it's good that you have the option to do that as well.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. So moving on again,
Uh-huh.
you also now have a spot on the radio.
Yeah, I do.
So
Yeah.
I am going to get to something bigger when we've gone through all these things that you do.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? What's it about? What do you do on the radio?
So Craig's Radio is a local radio station in Cresswell, so not too far from us. And to be fair, the request came out of the blue. It was from another facilitator, Dave. We both go on the show together with Natalie and Andy on the show. It's called Paying It Forward.
Okay.
And we're on between every 4 to 6 weeks. They've asked us to go on. Dave, through his job, knew Natalie previous, and she'd always mention about having some Andy's Man Club representatives on. So when she asked it, because I think because I'd just been appointed the lead of Bowlsover and we needed to advertise it, they asked me to come on.
Right.
And because they enjoyed it that much with us both being there, they asked us to make it a regular thing with the four of us doing a show every 4 to 6 weeks. So we go on and we talk about the session and Man Club, how it's going with the groups, and mental health in general and how it affects everybody.
Again, I am going to get to something bigger very soon, but you're a very busy guy.
Yeah, but I'd rather be busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always, I'm going to make a very bad joke now, but I always told my family I'd be famous one day, but I didn't expect it to be because I'm a Fruit Loop. It's something I'm very, very immensely proud of.
Yeah.
But again, it's all come by accident. It's not something I've tried to push or anything. I don't try to push my social media for people to listen to. I don't try to push the radio. I advertise it when I'm going on it because I want people to listen.
Yeah.
But I'm not recording myself constantly to put videos up for likes or anything. I record things that I feel are relevant
Right.
to go on for people to
Yeah.
listen to, and the same with the radio show. I'm glad it's only 4 to 6 weeks and not every week, because it gives us time for everything to settle in and have new topics to talk about.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
much as mental health conversation needs to be out there, I think we're still at that stage where people don't want it in their face constantly badgering, because it can then become too much.
yes,
Um, and then it falls into the grounds of people just saying that, uh, oh, you're just saying you're depressed because they're depressed, or do you know what I mean? And we
yeah,
don't want that. We don't want people to use mental health as an escape, um, because there are people out there who are genuinely suffering.
yeah, yeah, 100%. So, my big question that I was kind of building up to all this, you also have a full time job, right?
Yes, I do.
So, you have a full time job,
Yeah,
you have your Andy's Man Club, you have your
yeah,
Dom Talks, you go on
yeah,
the radio every 4 to 6 weeks,
yeah.
you have a young family.
Yes.
How do you stop yourself getting burnout, which will then affect your mental health?
That's a very good question. No, uh,
I suffer immensely with
so,
burnout. That's why I took my
yeah,
break. So that's what my biggest worry always is with anything I ever do now going
yeah,
forward. I have to put boundaries in place.
yeah.
So I'm interested in what you do to make sure that you don't get burnout.
And do you know what? I'll be honest with you. My wife keeps me grounded. Um, I might think she moans sometimes, or she's just trying to be a party pooper, or whatever. But she knows more than I do how life affects me.
Yes.
She knows when I'm having a bad day more than I do. Um, and I think it's that connection, because we know each other so well.
Yeah.
She can see that in me, whereas I necessarily don't want to, because I want to be this person who's helping everybody and being there for people, um, and I love doing it. Whereas she looks at it objectively and thinks it's amazing, and loves that I'm doing it, coming on the podcast and doing the radio and doing the social media. Um, but she's also like, you still dumb. You keep yourself level, because otherwise, I have another instance like where um, I got signed off for 6 weeks because I burnt out. I
Yeah.
couldn't. I was at that stage where I just couldn't function with life and work and all the barriers that everything come in. Just felt like I was being crushed
Yeah.
by a boulder. Um, so I wouldn't necessarily say I stop myself from burning out, but there are people who are really close to me who do stop me burning out.
You're
Um,
the
and as
second
much as I don't want to
person.
listen to it, sometimes I know she's right.
Yep. Um, you're the second person that I've spoke to this week. One on the podcast, one not. About putting boundaries and things in place and knowing when, because again, I struggled with it so bad. I was meant to take a
Yeah,
6 week break. I was gone for 6 months.
yeah.
Um, and I struggled with burnout so bad that I need to learn how people deal with it. And
hmm
both answers I got came back very similar to what you just said. You had
You,
somebody in your corner supporting you.
I would. A lot of the chaps who come to Man Club have been sent by their partners,
Right.
and that's because that person knows you the most out of everybody and loves you the most out of anybody in the world, and they want to see you happy and they want you to be okay. And they, as much as you can think that they're pushing you and they're trying, they're interfering and stuff, it's just because they want what's best for you.
Yeah.
And they want you to be okay, and they don't like seeing you suffer. So when my wife's saying maybe you just need to chill for a bit, she's not being a party pooper. She's doing it because she loves me and she genuinely just wants what's best.
Yeah.
And you know, whenever I attend an Andy's Man Club event, we'll have a stall out, we're handing leaflets out, wristbands, stuff like that. It's women who come up and talk to us, not men,
Right.
which amazes me, because
Yeah.
they're more comfortable to come and talk and say, my brother's suffering, my husband's suffering, you know, what do we do? How do we get them to come? And because even there, where we're there for men as a mental health group offering our services, men still don't want to come up and be seen to be admitting that they've got a problem.
Yeah.
Whereas their mum, their sister, their partner doesn't care. They will go up and advocate for them because they want them to be all right. And I think it's amazing. I don't think anybody would be where they are without the support of somebody that they love.
Yeah. I am very, very excited for the next generation of people who have been brought up knowing that it's okay and you don't have to be happy, smiley, and you can cry. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't have to be you. It doesn't matter if you're sad. It doesn't matter
No,
if you're
doesn't.
struggling, and it's very exciting to me that the next generation are hopefully going to be better
It's,
prepared than we are.
yeah, it's needed. Some people think depression's a new thing, it's a new word, but it's not. It's been around forever. There was literally a period of time in America called the Great Depression.
Yes.
So it's not a newfangled thing. It
No.
it's real, it's out there, and it can affect anybody at any time. Just because you're not suffering today doesn't mean you won't have something that triggers you next month.
Yeah.
It's That's depression. It gets anybody whenever it gets them, and I
It.
wouldn't wish how I feel when I'm at my lowest on anybody
No. No.
at all. Which is why I guess I probably try a bit harder than I should, where helping people are concerned, because I hate knowing that someone could feel like I felt. If my last £10 in my bank account would feed somebody, they can have it. That's the kind of person that I am and I aspire to be. But also, I think there's not enough people like that in the world. We're
Yeah.
so caught up in our own lives and we don't care about others. It's it can be a cruel world sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely agree. So before I let you go, if every man listening could take, or
Yeah.
every person listening could take one positive step for their mental health this week, what would you say that step should be?
Reach out to one person. It only takes one person. You don't need a village. You need a security blanket. If you have somebody who knows how you're feeling, that you're struggling, who will reach out to you, you can trust. They won't share if you don't want them to share, that they can trust, and they'll check in on you, or
Yeah.
they'll ring you, or you know, it could be somebody you've not spoken to for ages that you still trust, because life gets in the way. We're all adults. You work and have families um, and everything like that. Just find one person. So all it takes, somebody you can talk to that you can trust and will listen. And you'd probably be surprised how much better you feel for it after.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the purpose of Dom Talks and Man Club is talking. That's the point. That's what I'm trying to get across to people. Talking saves lives, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Well,
And I will always advocate talking. It doesn't have to be in a group setting. It can be one-on-one if you find somebody that you can do it with.
yeah.
That's the main thing. Just don't suffer in silence, I guess.
Thank you. That was like everything that you said is literally what I needed to hear, and it's absolutely wonderful. And I hope anyone who is still listening will listen and take on board what's been said. I am going to post all the links to your socials at the at in the description below, so everything will be
Yeah.
there for anyone who needs it. Um, do you have anything you want to add before I let you go?
Uh, just say, look, life's hard. It is, and it's not. You should never feel ashamed to admit that you're struggling. It's not a bad thing. You're human. You're not a robot. We all face burnout. We all get upset. We all get angry. What's important is understanding why you feel like that. Is there something more going on a little bit? Do I need help? And if you do need help, that's what I'm there for. Find a group. If you feel lonely, find a book group. Go walking find a walking group. Just people help people. the key factor there. Just never suffer in silence. It's such a lonely place. Trust me, I've been there.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So,
Anyone who is still listening, thank you for being here.